Hi YouTube. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. Well, it's not really an episode, but thank you for watching another one of my videos. As you know, I talk all about affordable housing and just giving you all the information that you need. That way you are able to hopefully get selected and know what exactly to expect throughout the process. So today I'm going to be talking about the mid to moderate income. So if you guys are on Housing Connect, you probably would notice that most of the new buildings posted, the income brackets are higher. So I've been getting quite a few emails, people asking, well, how is this affordable housing? You know, this income is way more than I make in a year. So I want to explain to you, as I did explain in my previous video. So there's different components to affordable housing. So there's a low income and then there's a mid to moderate income. So the low income bracket typically stops at 60% AMI. Everything above that, the 80 and 100%, that's more on a mid to moderate income level. However, this is still considered as affordable housing. Yes, believe it or not, a rent of $21.50 is affordable to some middle income families. So it is still indeed affordable housing. So while you may not qualify for this, there's other families in that income range that do qualify. So I just want to talk about, you know, someone that actually qualify for middle income. So majority of my experience is with middle income. And you know, that's why I wanted to do this video a few weeks back, but I've been so busy. But nevertheless, I want to explain in details about middle income because it is a bit tricky and I want everyone to be prepared. So if your income is, I would say $55,000 and above, it's likely that you will fall under that middle income category. So I just want to explain this. So for example, the income for a studio for the middle income typically starts at about $53,000 for the minimum income requirement. So if you are, for example, making $55,000 and you go on and you see that, whoa, okay, there's a studio for $1,600 that I qualify for because I'm like barely at that minimum income requirement, I'm gonna apply. Fine. But this is my recommendation. I want you guys to understand, in my opinion, who should apply for middle income housing. So if you say you're fresh out of college, your first job was about $55,000 to $60,000, and there's levels in your career, whereas you know that next year, say you started out as a lawyer, right? And your first year, you're at $60,000 or $57,000, but you know, once you get to year 2, you're gonna get to $75,000, and then year 3, you know, you're gonna get to like $85,000, $90,000. That's who should apply for middle income. If you know that you are in a career that you are expected to get an increase within a year, or even if you own your own business, but you truly and strongly anticipate getting a higher income or earning more within at least a year, that's who should apply for middle income. That you know for sure that your income is gonna increase. If you barely made it, say there's a studio posted and the rent is $1,500 and the minimum income requirement is $53,000 and you make $54,000, but it took you about 2 years before you got another increase. Say you were at, you know, for the past 2 years, you've been at $53,000 and it took you like 2 to 3 years to get an increase to get you to $55,000, and then it would likely take you another 2 or 3 years to get another $2,000 or $3,000 extra as far as an increase. In my opinion, if you are barely making that minimum requirement and you're not in a position where you anticipate a raise within the next 12 months, in my opinion, middle income may not be the best option for you. Oftentimes when I look at the rent compared to the income ratio, because for example, if the rent is $1,500 and I'm making $53,000 or $55,000, do I really want to pay $1,500 per month out of my $55,000 plus other expenses? To me, you're pushing it very close. You're pushing it very close, and you may find yourself like literally living paycheck to paycheck. While I get that, you know, the building may be in a nice neighborhood and it's a nice building and so forth, but if it's a long stretch for you, in my opinion, middle income housing is not for you. And again, this is all my opinion from my experience, because I've processed people and I'm always very transparent with them. I've processed so many people that barely made the income bracket, but they're just so grateful that they made the bracket. So they're like, yeah, I want to apply. Yeah, I qualify. I get that you qualify, but again, if you're not gonna get an increase, a significant increase that will alleviate that rent burden from you, in my opinion, do not put that strain on yourself. So that, again, is just my opinion from my experience. You're free to do whatever you like, but just keep that in mind when you apply. Think about the rent amount and if that's feasible for you. One of the great things about middle income is that there's no recertification. So once you're in, you're in. Unlike low income housing, you do not have to recertify each year, whereas you are providing income and asset documents each year. No, once you're in for the middle income, you're in. If it's a rent stabilized building, a great comfort is knowing that your rent could increase only by the amount determined by the Rent Guideline Board. Typically for the past 6 years, it's been below 3%. I believe for the 1 year lease, it's 1.5%, and for the 2 year lease, it's 2.5%. So at least that gives you a sense of comfort knowing that your rent is not going to skyrocket if you're living in a rent stabilized building. So that's a benefit of a middle income home. And again, no recertification. So that's great. One of the other things I want to point out to you as well, and it's a flip side, I'm just giving you all the details so you could think about it before you actually get in the situation, because oftentimes these lotteries is like you have to make a decision right then and there because there's so many applicants waiting. So that's why I want to give you guys this information. You don't have to wait until you're actually selected to think about what would you do, how would you approach it. I want you to already know that, so when you get selected, it's like, you know, you're able to just make your decision. You know what to expect, because these lotteries are first come, first serve. Once you're contacted, you don't want to play around delaying that. If you need to make a decision on which unit you want to go with, it's like almost immediate. No one is giving you, oh, you have 2 weeks to think about it. No, because there's thousands of other people waiting. So use this information to the best of your ability. Like, think about it beforehand. So I just want to make that clear. So the other thing I wanted to point out with middle income housing, and this is again from my experience. So oftentimes you find that you could qualify for 2 unit types, meaning that you could qualify for either like a studio and a 1 bedroom, or 2 bedroom and a 3 bedroom, depending on your family size and your income. So oftentimes you're gonna have that overlap. Okay, so if you go in, you're selected, and when you look at it, it appears that you're eligible for the studio and the 1 bedroom, right? So obviously the rent price will be higher. Obviously the rent price will be higher for the 1 bedroom. But this is what I want you to think about. Think about how long can you see yourself in a studio? Is a studio what you really want? Because the thing with middle income, if you're transferring, say you got in a studio and you know, in a couple months, you outgrow the studio, you want a 1-bedroom. In order to transfer, then you have to go through the process again. And at that point, you have to re-qualify. So I always say, always think about what you want. You can think about it short term, but when it comes to a decision like that, I recommend thinking about it long term. At least I always say to applicants, can you see yourself in the studio for a year? How likely is it that you will want to upgrade, you know, after 12 months? Because while you can transfer, oftentimes, one, there's no remaining unit. Oftentimes there's a long wait list. So the transfer process is not always easy. And then when you're transferring, as I mentioned, at that point you have to requalify. So for example, if right now you qualify for both a studio and a 1-bedroom, but you're like, no, you know what, I'm gonna take the studio, I'm gonna just live in here for a year or so, that's fine. So you get in the studio, you're there for a year and a half later, you decide, you know what, I outgrew this studio, like the space is too small for me, I need a 1-bedroom. At that point, you now say you got a raise within that point. Say you got a $5,000 raise within that point. If you no longer meet that income requirement for that 1-bedroom, that means two things. Either one, you're gonna stay in that studio, or two, you're gonna have to move out somewhere else where you qualify for the 1-bedroom. Because once your income exceeds that 1-bedroom maximum, you're no longer eligible to transfer to that unit. So if you have to stay in the studio or you have to move somewhere else. So I always say, think about which unit you could see yourself in. Make sure the space could work for you. And if you're looking, you know, if you're looking to say get a say you have say it's you and your young child, you could still get a 1-bedroom, right? But you will also qualify for a 2-bedroom. Though the rent may be more, I've had families say, you know what, I'm just gonna stay in the 1-bedroom with my child for now. My child is still young, so it's fine. Yeah, I get that. But that same family is then calling me a year and a half later, you know, I need that 2-bedroom, the space is too small, my child is getting older now. And my conversation is, well, you know, you're on the wait list, but there's 200 other people before you, or there's 50 other people before you. So now you have to wait until we get up to your name on the wait list, which is almost, I've personally seen wait lists for over 3 years for middle income. Because oftentimes when families get a middle income apartment in a lovely neighborhood, a lovely building, they don't move. They don't move, so there's no movements, and if there's no movements, there's no available unit. So I've had family, for one of the developers I work for, the 3-bedroom, I was like in high demand, and the rent was about $3,200 or something. No one moved. And you know, a year or two while you're there, now your kids are older, you want a bigger space. Now you either have to wait until we get up to your name, and there's no guarantee when that will happen, or you have to incur moving expenses to move out to find a unit that's suitable for you. So I'm saying all of this because I want you to think about all of that beforehand. So if you're a household of one, think about, do I need a studio right now or a 1-bedroom? Like, is it worth it for me to pay that extra $200 right now and just get that 1-bedroom? Or should I just stick to the studio and see how long I last? Definitely think about those decisions beforehand. The transfer process depends on the building, and some buildings don't even permit transfer. Some do, but some don't permit transfer, and there's no lateral move. So the other thing I want to say, when you're doing these lotteries, right, if you have an option as far as which unit you could select, be sure that you're happy with the unit. Do not just take a unit because you're qualified. Oh my God, I just want to move. If you're not happy with the unit, don't take it. Don't let any leasing agent promise to transfer you within a certain time. Do not, like, if something is not placed in writing, do not take anyone's word for it. So many people call me and say, oh, you know, well, someone from your team told me, or this person told me that I could transfer if I just take this 2-bedroom right now. They'll transfer me X time. You know what? Chances are that person's not even there anymore. And it's also your word against theirs. And I'm not saying like they're liars or anything, but don't let anyone promise you any unit verbally. If they're telling you something, have them put that in writing. And for the most part, be happy with the unit that you're selecting. At least be able to see yourself there for 12 months, because it's a 1-year lease at minimum. So just make sure that you're happy for at least that time period. With these affordable housing, you do not want to just keep jumping around. So be happy with the unit that you're in. Make sure you're able to afford it. Make sure you think, how long do you see yourself there? Think about the best unit that you should get in that moment. As far as middle income, everything else, as far as the process, you could watch my first video. The application process is pretty much the same, so there's no difference with that. So this is just to give you a better insight of things to think about when you're applying, when you get selected for middle income. So watch my previous videos, how to apply and how to calculate your income. That way you could have all that details. So my next video, I'm also going to go live next Sunday. Next Sunday is the 16th. So I'm going to go live on the 16th at 3 p.m. So if you have any questions, please email me. A lot of you have been emailing me, and I think I've been great so far. We're responding for the most part the same day. So be sure, I'll put my email in the description below. If you have a scenario, email me. Also read the comments on all my videos. A lot of people advise what their scenario is, and I give my feedback. So read those as well. Watch these videos. Affordable housing is a tremendous opportunity. If you do qualify, definitely apply. I'm an advocate for affordable housing, and that's the reason why I'm doing this, to give you guys all the information that you need. So if you think of any questions, just comment below and I'll address it in my live. So 3 p.m. on February 16th. If you have friends and family that is in the process right now, or they're thinking about applying, do advise them to watch that video as well. Think of any questions. I'll also answer all the questions that I've been asked thus far, because I'm sure others may have the same questions. So I'll definitely give my answers to that while I'm doing the live. This is all free. I don't charge anyone for any information. This is just me giving back, blessing you. I've been in this industry for a while and I love it. And, you know, I'm so grateful that I could be able to do these videos to help others. So many people told me how helpful this is. So that's even more encouraging for me. So like this video, subscribe to my channel, share this video. Do not keep this information to yourself. So many people need this information, so please share the video. And again, if you have questions, if you have personal scenarios that you want to email me, I'll put the email below. Or you could just comment your question. It's helpful when you comment, because other people that may be experiencing the same thing could see that and learn from that. Well, whichever method you want to reach out, please do so. And thank you for watching. I hope you have an amazing day. And don't be discouraged. I just got a call from a friend of mine. She is so excited because she got selected. So I'm walking her through the process right now. And she's been on for, I think, over 3 years. Since we were in grad school, I've been telling her about this. So she's been on the website for over 3 years. She messed up the last time because she didn't contact me, and she went ahead and kind of just withdrew her application without speaking to me. But this time I'm walking her through the process. I'm so excited for her, and I want to help you guys with your process as well. So be sure to follow through. Apply, apply, apply. You will get selected. Do not be discouraged. There's so many. If you log on to the Housing Connect website right now, there's so many middle income apartments available. So please make sure you review the income bracket, look at the building, make sure it's a good fit for you, and click apply. But most importantly, make sure your Housing Connect profile is updated. Do not disqualify yourself by applying with stale dated information. So make sure before you apply, check the information that you have, make sure your income is updated and everything is updated, your contact information. All right, thank you for watching. My name is Tal, and I appreciate you guys. I hope this video is a blessing to you. Have an amazing day.